Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about how to start a conversation with a girl that you're attracted to. Sometimes I've noticed this phenomena where I meet a girl and it's very easy to talk to her because I'm not attracted to her. It's something I've been joking about with my friends who are currently having trouble with a certain quality of girl or coaching client who's doing fine with these kind of girls and sleeping with this type or quality or whatever demographic, and then he wants to move up to this quality of girl, but he's always like, dude, when I talk to this girl, I just but then I talk to this girl and I'm just like spitting magic. It's something that I also noticed with one of my best friends back home in the US. He's a gay guy, but he's slept with some girls, so I guess technically he's bisexual. But he's this good looking guy, he's in shape, he's really social, and he has no problem spitting game with girls. If he meets a girl, she's all over him. But when I went out one day to teach him how to go and approach random guys on the street, dude just froze up. And then once we did get him to start a conversation with the guy, he's like, and I'm like, okay, buddy, let me jump in and like direct this. And then afterwards, he's like, how did you do that? I was like, well, obviously because I'm not gay, so it's easier for me to talk to guys because there's not a nervousness behind it. But when you're talking to a girl that you like, or if you're a gay guy and you're talking to a guy you like, it's gonna be much harder than someone else. But what I wanna try and do is I wanna try and replicate how easy it is to talk to your friends, right? You have no problem having a conversation with your friends, right? No, not at all. Or you have no problem having a conversation with someone you aren't super attracted to because your brain doesn't turn to fucking jelly. But when you're talking to a girl that you're attracted to, you have trouble starting and then taking that start and actually turning it into a conversation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you a template that is going to help you start the conversation. And there's 3 ways that I generally like to start a conversation. And then I'm going to help you take that first spark, because you can walk up and say, hey, how are you, right? That's one of the best ways to start a conversation. You can do it in a confident way. Hey, how are you? Oh, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. But then what do you say after? Right? I can teach guys to approach, but then that gap afterwards makes so much trouble for them. So I'll give you a template of how to make that happen. But I need to be super honest with you because I'm never gonna bullshit you. For me to predict how a conversation to go I would be a liar. There's a trillion different ways a conversation can go because humans are complex and we generally like the same things, and we're probably gonna talk about general things, but the way that your words are gonna actually come out of your mouth and the tones that are coming out of your mouth and how they're gonna respond in the context of how that's happening, that's infinite. It's creatively infinite. There's so many different ways a conversation can go. So I'm gonna be honest and tell you, I'm gonna give you the template to start and kind of get it going and get the ball rolling. But for you to truly understand how a conversation is going to go, you're gonna have to go and just start fucking spouting bullshit, and then eventually a conversation is gonna start. And then what you can do is, if you really, really wanna get better with conversating with girls that you're attracted to and then eventually sleeping with them, I do offer coaching. Coaching is the fastest way to get better. These YouTube videos are great. The articles on our website are great. But the absolute fastest way to get better with girls is through one-on-one coaching. And I do it in person, but you'd have to fly out here to Europe to do that. If you want to do that, we can set that up. But I also do Skype coaching where we discuss, hey, you went out to talk to someone at a bar, you had this conversation, but then at some point she walked away. Okay, tell me what happened. Well, I said this and I said this and oh, see, the way you said that because of the context of the conversation and the situation that you were in didn't quite fit, and you communicated something that maybe you didn't intend to communicate, because what you're saying is not always what you mean, because what you say, you're gonna mean 3 different things. You're talking to a girl and you compliment her and she's like, oh, thank you. Oh, what's your name? Nice to meet you, blah, 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 blah. And then you give her another compliment and she's like, oh, thanks. I gotta go find my friends. And you're like, what the fuck happened? And I'm gonna tell you, well, the first compliment was great, but then this is a problem I had all the time because I just love giving girls compliments. Compliment them first. Oh my God, cool. This guy's confident. He has no problem walking up to a random girl and giving her a genuine compliment. Then a conversation starts, but then another compliment comes. It's too much. So basically, conversations are infinitely complex. I'm gonna give you the steps on how to start them and get them started, but the best way to learn from it is coaching. And so if you want to sign up for that, I'll put a link in the description below. It's the best way to learn. Okay, so the 3 ways to start a conversation: compliment, comment, and nonverbal. Very simple. compliment. First of all, there's some guys out there who like don't compliment girls. It puts them on a pedestal and makes them think that they're really hot and you're giving them validation. Fuck all that shit. I've gotten laid plenty of times from complimenting girls. I understand the psychology behind it, but it depends on, again, the context, right? If you're like staring at a girl and you walk up and you're really pretty. Well, of course she's gonna be like, oh, thanks for the little validation, little man, fuck off, right? Because you're acting like a little bitch. She doesn't wanna be with a little bitch. But if you walk up and say, wow, look at you, you look fucking amazing in that dress. I mean, oof, yeah, great. That's how I compliment girls. That works. Girls love that shit. Because you're coming from a place of authority, right? If you're this big famous celebrity and you walk up to a random girl and compliment her, think she's gonna be like, oh, thanks for the validation. No, she's gonna be like, oh, okay, can I suck your dick right now? That's how a compliment really works. So start the conversation with a compliment. Walk up. Depends on the context. If you're in, I talk about context a lot, but it's just the best way to explain things. If you're at a bar, I just walk up, tap her on the shoulder or the elbow or the waist if she's turned away from me. She turns around, hi, saw you over here. You're gorgeous, really pretty, you know? Sometimes I'll be really direct. I would be careful with this. I'll tell them they have a great ass. They have great hair, they have great fashion, whatever. Obviously you want to adjust your level of directness and boldness with however risks you want to take. But I'll give it like that. Yeah, you look great in that dress. What's your name? Boom, nice to meet you. We're started, okay? If you're during the day, you can run up to girls and compliment them during the day. And I actually have a video I'll put right here on how to introduce yourself during the day. I use PUA terms, but I'm not sure if people recognize that all the time. How to open girls or introduce yourself and start a conversation with girls during the day that you just see walking on the street, right? Or if you're in a social circle context, that's where you've already met her through a friend. Then what you can do is also just give a compliment. You meet her, hey, nice to meet you. Oh, by the way, you know, you look great in that dress. Oh, thank you, right? Hey, this is Hector. Meet Hector. This is Angela. Oh, nice to meet you. Yeah, you're pretty. That's a great way to start a conversation because now she knows that it's man to woman and that this is me with a dick and you with a pussy, and that's really what you're trying to do, right? Even if you want a girlfriend, you still want to have sex. Even if you want her to be your wife and have children. Well, if you want children, you definitely have to have sex with her because that's how babies are made. If you haven't been told that, here you go. I just gave you the talk. Okay, so compliment is great. Then what you can do is you can comment. This is what some people call indirect game, but here's my rule for indirect game or commenting on something like of the environment or something she's doing and you're not quite saying, hey, I'm attracted to you, but you're still starting a conversation and she's not stupid. She knows why you're starting a conversation, usually. My rule is that if the comment doesn't come to your mind immediately, then you probably shouldn't do it. Because if you're standing next to her and you're like, what can I comment on? At that point, just go direct. Hey, you look great. What's your name, right? Do it in a smart way. If you're just standing there, don't just go, oh, you're pretty. That's stupid. You're standing next to her and you go, okay, can't think of anything to say. Tap on the elbow. She turns around. Hey, you're really pretty. And I wanted to say hi. I'm Hector. That's fucking magic. That's great. So if you want to comment on something, let it come to your mind instantly. I remember recently I met a very beautiful girl and we had a great night together and I was standing next to her and I turned and she was kind of turned this way and I was turned this way. So we were each at like not quite like where I could just talk to her. So I just looked over my shoulder and I was just like, you're very fancy with your wine glass. Because everyone else was drinking a beer or a cocktail and she had a wine glass. And given the environment, it's not really typical for people at this particular establishment to drink wine. And so I was just like, oh, you're looking fancy with that wine. And then she turns to me, she's like, I'm always drinking wine. And then we started a conversation, boom, okay? So let it come to your head. It can be something about the environment. It can be the music. You kind of just look at her and you go, oh, not bad, you know? It could be something that she's particularly wearing. If she has cool shoes, it's kind of a mixture of a compliment and comment. Be like, oh, those are interesting shoes, right? So it's halfway compliment, halfway comment. So yeah, that's the rule for comments for me, and it's worked the best because when it's spontaneous, it comes out the best. Now the last one is nonverbal. This has to eventually like lead into you talking, but the first few seconds can be nonverbal. Maybe you're standing here and she's standing right here with a group of friends, but she's kind of turned away from the group, so she seems open to conversation. And you're kind of looking around with your beer in your hand and kind of make eye contact. And then you look away, she looks away, you look back, eye contact. Okay, the conversation's already started. Conversations don't always have to be done with this, right? They can be done with this. They can be done with this. They can be done with that. There's a lot of different ways to conversate. Sex is a conversation, if you want to really think about it that way. So the conversation has already started with your eye contact. Or you could, I love doing that. Girls will walk by and I'm kind of, more flamboyant. Maybe you don't want to be like, hi. I don't do that shit. But you can just be cool and be like, hi. Or if you want to be silly, a girl walks past you, be like, that shit all works. Depending on your personality, you can change the degree to which you're being exuberant. And so eye contact, hand gestures, you can be silly. She can walk by, you can be like, just play with it, have fun with it. But you can use your body to communicate with her. And then, of course, after you do your quick eye contact and you kind of smile at each other, walk over, right? Or you can do, if you catch her looking at you, you can do this trick where you go like this and get her to come to you. I actually have a video about that right here if you want to learn how to get girls to come to you with the open and, just use your 2 fingers to get her over there. And then later on, you use those in her butt. Okay, that was really creepy. That was super fucking creepy. Moving on. So those are the 3 ways to start the conversation: compliment, comment, nonverbal. Then what do? How do you actually have a conversation? Look, there's a lot of guys out there who are like, oh, you need to have some interesting conversation and guess like what kind of person she is based on her what she's wearing and have like some fascinating, life-changing talk. No, most of the guys that she's gonna get with are just guys who are at her level. Imagine you're not a celebrity and then you meet a celebrity. You're gonna be like, oh, how do I have a conversation with this guy that makes him like me? Well, most of the time, the people who they're gonna feel closest to are the people who they feel equal to. So if you go up to somebody, you're like, oh, what do I talk about? Or if he's just like, hey man, how are you? How's your night going? Obviously there needs to be a context where he's gonna wanna actually talk to you. But I think that's the reason for it. And you're just like, hey, yeah, nice to meet you, man. Oh, cool, so you enjoying your night? That's how a person of his level would talk to him or her. So just have normal fucking conversations. You don't have to have, within the first 5 minutes, a life-changing experience. Now, eventually you need to have an interesting conversation afterwards, but that interesting conversation doesn't always have to happen verbally, right? You can ask interesting questions with a cool tone. You can ask, where are you from? Versus, so, where are you from? That's so much better. That's much more interesting. You're communicating a lot of things without changing the actual linguistic structure of what you're saying. So what I'm trying to tell you is, how's your night going? You know how everyone makes fun of the typical, do you come here often thing? I fucking used that before and it works. Do you like this place? Is it your usual spot? It's my first time here. Just have a normal fucking conversation. Where are you from? What do you do for a living? Now I have a video right here on how to ask girls normal questions without sounding like you're interviewing them, because you change your tone or you kind of change the structure of your sentence, but not in a crazy way, just in a simple way. So check that out and it'll teach you how to really have a conversation. And I also have a video on how to never run out of things to say. So those 2 videos are really tying well to this video and you want to check them out. They're in the description and I put them in the cards. I don't know if you saw them creeping on you in the top left corner there. That's one way, just a normal conversation. Now 2 is become curious about life and become curious about her. And these are tips that I put in that video, but I wanna go over them again really quick here. You need to be curious about life, because if you're curious about life, then you're gonna wanna learn so many different things. And if you learn so many different things, then guess what? You have so much to fucking talk about. Because if you're a curious and adventurous person, then you're probably out doing a lot of things, and you're out reading a lot of things, and you're out learning about a lot of things, and asking people about things. So there's a lot of fucking shit in here. So if she says something that sparks your interest, or you see something, maybe you like fashion, I like fashion, and you recognize her shoes. Oh, are these this brand? Or hey, those are the new designs from this designer. Or hey, I really like that bag. I mean, for most of you, you're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck about bag fashion, but hey, if you're really curious about life and she says something or has something about her that really hits with you and gets your mind rolling, like, oh, I've studied that before. Maybe she studies medicine, you study medicine, oh, cool. Then you have something to talk about. So become curious about life and become curious about her. And if you're curious about her, it's gonna ignite your mind and it's gonna get you asking interesting questions. The first 5 minutes doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but what's gonna make that 5 minutes turn into 5-minute normal conversation, turn into a 25-minute, 1-hour conversation that changes her fucking life. And she's like, who is this guy? He's amazing. We have so much in common, right? Then that's when you're really gonna connect. And connection and attraction is based on 3 principles: similarity, arousal, and compliance. Okay, so similarity is what you're really going to connect with conversation. Arousal is going to happen mostly non-verbally, based on your masculine body language, how you touch her, how you look at her. Compliance is more of how come with me. Okay, she follows you. You're the leader. Okay, she's allowing you to control the conversation. When you ask her to come home, she's coming home with you. Compliance, you stack it up, and women want to do more for you when they do more for you. It's a compounding principle. But similarity, that's what you can connect with it on a level of how you look. Okay, we look the same. We're both hipsters, or we're both businessmen. Okay, we're similar, right? Or businesswomen, right? No. You're a businessman, she's a businesswoman. Okay, cool, got that underway. So, but when you're conversating, that's when you're going to have the most connections of similarity. And people tend to date and sleep with people who are similar to them in their interests and also in their levels of interest with each other. If someone likes one more than the other, then there's an imbalance and they don't like each other. So if you want to understand this principle of SAC, because it is the foundation of all attraction, and it's something that we've actually researched, and we have literally over 1,000 social psychology citations from legit social psychology journals. We have that all documented and taught on this video course called One Date. And so I'll put that in the description below, and it teaches you how to meet girls, how to conversate with girls, and how to take them on a text them to get them on a date, how to get on the date, what to talk about on the date, how to get her home, how to have sex with her, how to actually technically have sex with her, and then how to turn her into her girlfriend. So it gives you the whole process, and that's our big product called One Date. And you should definitely pick it up. I'll put it right here. And again, it's in the description. Okay, this is Hector Castillo, girlschase.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. That was how to start a conversation with a girl, compliment, comment, nonverbal, and then have a normal conversation. And then lead that into an amazing conversation because you're curious about life and you're curious about her. Cool. All right, follow me on social media, like, subscribe, ring that fucking bell, and I will see you